In this short presentation, I'm going to give you some advice and a simple approach for those who are new to competitive analysis, as well as to those who are already familiar. This presentation is addressed to high-tech companies, mostly startups, as the many attending the Blockpool Bootcamp, and whose proposals were granted. The method to perform a competitive analysis are the same across industries and company size, but for startups, there are some slight differences, and I will also talk about those in the next slides. Competitive analysis is a big subject. For this reason, I will focus on some key topics. First of all, why it is so important. Then how to perform a correct analysis. Because if it's not, it can be very misleading and jeopardize the whole project. Remember that at the end of the day, the purpose of the competitive analysis is to make business decisions. So I will show the most common mistakes. There are few, very bad, but they occur quite often. We will also see some real examples. It is true that you are never alone in the market, but unless you are targeting a niche market, you may find several competitors. It's only by comparing your product with competitors that you can understand what is right and what is wrong, and if you are heading in the right direction. More importantly, as a startup, you can learn a lot from their success and their mistakes. Based on the knowledge you have gained of your target market, you know exactly what your competitors sell, where and how. You can now start setting your goals, which must be consistent with your resources already available and those you can get from investors or through grants and so on. Once you have set your goals, you have to think of a strategy and plan to reach them. You may want to be a leader, so do better products than your competitors. And in this case, you will enter to overtake their market share. Or you will search a niche segment where they are not present. For example, big companies are generally not interested in niche markets. Another option in some cases is partnering with one of your competitors, which is called co-petition. It may also happen while collecting information and analyzing it, that you will find opportunities that your competitors have not seen or have overlooked or for some reasons were unable to seize. Since this presentation addresses mostly startups, as already said at the beginning, the competitive analysis is focused on the product. Another point to keep in mind is that the competitive landscape is highly dynamic, meaning that competitors may change their strategies and take different directions. The first step is the identification of competitors. It's about who best meets the market demand, regardless of technology. Here are four types of competitors. A common bad mistake is consider only direct competitors. A worse mistake is consider direct competitors with products based on the same technology. Once competitors have been identified, information should be collected about the products, target markets and customers, market share, strategy, business news, financial reports, company acquisition strategy, strengths, weaknesses, You must know as much as possible of each of them. The pace of technology innovation is very fast. The external environment changes too, such as national and EU regulations, and political tensions arise around the world. All these events can force competitors to change their strategies. Therefore, competitors must be constantly monitored. The main asset of a startup is the product at different stages of development. In general, the team is small, primarily focused on the development of the product and on fundraising. Therefore, the comparison is about the product, the pricing, the business model. But if the analysis of competition has been well performed, these will suggest which strategy is best to commercialize the new product and develop the most suited plan. The positioning map is a very effective tool to visualize your position and your competitors in the market. It is very important to identify the key attributes. If one map does not fully represent the positioning, and there are further key attributes to be assessed, it is useful to draw another map. Actually, there may be as many maps as you deem necessary to know and understand better the competitive landscape. Here is an example of a positioning map. The product is a robotic scaffolding system targeting the construction market. The key dimensions on the XY axis are flexibility and the level of automatization of transportation of construction material. In the first quadrant is, let's say, our company. Second, third, and fourth are the three main competitors. The new product aims at meeting the market demand of scaffolding system, which should be flexible and highly automated. One of the reasons of this is the shortage of manpower in Europe willing to work in setting up scaffolding for construction. Here comes the need of automation, but also the need of flexibility due to high cost of such systems. This is a simple positioning map. In case of huge, highly segmented markets, you can also have clusters of similar companies. This is the template of a comparison matrix. It is very common and widely used, especially to compare products. It is also common in proposals to find tables where product C is completely filled in with the X. On the first column on the left, we have features, our company, and competitors, all the other way around. At first sight, product C seems perfectly able to fully meet the market demand. Certainly, it is far better than product A and B. A table like this suggests to evaluators and investors that the comparison is quite biased, and it is hardly completely credible. The problem is that the efforts in developing a new product at different degrees overshadows the features and the strengths of competing products. A study of this analysis starts with the features listed. In the first place, the features must be consistent with the market demand. Features that are irrelevant but present in product C should not be considered. Here is a summary of key points analyzed so far. Number and type of dimension. More than one map may be necessary in some cases. Competitors are identified through the positioning map. When dimensions are measurable, to put an X is not enough. Here is an example of the competitive analysis for new solar panels. The peculiarity of this analysis is that it doesn't report objective data, but opinions. Let's start with the features. Technical performance is more than generic. Therefore, it must be defined. The same applies to the next features. The only clear feature is weight. However, although measurable, the weight is not reported. Now, let's focus on how features are assessed. Minus in red and plus in green. Scores are 1 and 2. As it often happens, the first column on the right suggests that the product is almost perfect, since there are no minuses. The analysis in which scores are used in place of objective and verifiable data is not credible and is of no use to the company. I have heard and read these statements many times. It is the worst thing an investor wants to hear. So any investor would think that nobody is interested in the product or that the company does not know the market at all. We have seen in the previous slides the common but sometimes fatal mistakes of a competitive analysis. Some analyses are self-referential, meaning that the company positions itself on top of competitors, acting as a benchmark. This slide contains a competitive analysis intending to take a short break and get a smile. It is obviously an exaggeration, but a few times it isn't far from reality. As said at the beginning, the competitive analysis is a huge topic. For this reason, various methods have been developed, and after decades, they retain their value. It's up to the company how and when it is useful or necessary to use them. We can mention, of course, SWOT analysis, pest analysis, and Porter's 5 forces.